So today is Bloomsday, and today is the anniversary of my channel. Of course, I think on YouTube it's listed as June 15th. I'm not sure when the upload was of the original first episode, but I remember recording it on Bloomsday last year. And June 16th has always been a special day for me, even before I knew what Bloomsday was, which I'll explain here in a minute. It seemed that it was always the day that marked really the beginning of summer, even if school had been out for a week or so. This is sort of like the start of the World Cup and the start of the Olympics, and this is always the time of year when it's time to just get away from the desk and get to having fun and get to the real education, which for me took place mostly outside of school walls as I spent my summers just reading and exploring and thinking. And I remember when I was 16 years old, which would have been back in the year 2000, old Y2K. On June 16th, a stranger just gave me his car. He was trying to get rid of his Toyota Corolla. It was a 1980 car. And I said, sure, I'd take it. I didn't have a license, and I kind of drove it around for a while, but being a stick shift, it was a bit hard to manage, but I later sold the thing for $300, which I thought was cool. And I just remember seeing the date on the bill when it was transferred over to me, seeing June 16th and thinking, okay, this is an interesting, weird, auspicious day that I found. And it seemed that every year something unusual or funny would happen to me on that day. Maybe I would find the right job that I needed, or I would hear from someone that I hadn't heard from, or I would see a rock band that I had always wanted to see. I remember a popular 90s alt-rock band, Soul Asylum, came to my hometown on June 16th, and I saw them, and I thought, okay, that would be enough to celebrate this day. For whatever strange reason, 616 always seemed special to me. And okay, now looking back at 2006, this is when I graduated from college, and I was looking for my first real professional job, when I would first finally be away from the classroom altogether for long term. And I thought, okay, the 16th, this will be the day. This will be the day that I get the call, because I was sending out applications. Every day, I was sending out like 10 applications to different places. And, you know, being at the very start of the recession and being someone who didn't have much work experience apart from internships and a little bit of volunteering, it was stressful. So I was sitting around at home, and I finally just couldn't handle it anymore, just waiting, anticipating, thinking. I thought, oh, I'll go to the library just like I used to as a kid. And so I went to the library, and a friend of mine, actually my old Christian science teacher from long ago, he had suggested that I should read Ulysses by James Joyce, and I thought, I don't know, that book seems kind of turgid and weird. I had no idea what it was about. I'm not sure. I didn't know much about Irish culture. I had no interest in going to Ireland. I had no Irish heritage at all, so I didn't really get it. But I went to the library and I saw the book, and it was right there, and I thought, okay, I'm going to start reading. And so I picked it up, and I opened it, and I took just an overview, and I realized, wait, this entire book, this entire 600, 700 pages, I don't know, it's quite a long novel. This entire novel takes place on June 16, which I thought was very weird, that on that day would be the day that I chose to pick up that book, to realize that that book was about June 16, and that June 16 was known as Bloomsday for a long time, thanks to James Joyce, who made it Bloomsday by the character Leopold Bloom, which is the school teacher, Jewish-Irish protagonist who deals with a lot of hate and insults and his own demons as he and Stephen Daedalus go on their journey through Greek history, I guess. So it's the retelling of Homer's The Odyssey, but it says two Irish men walking through the streets of Dublin on a beautiful summer day. Early summer day. And so anyway, even after discovering that, I thought, okay, that was my own June 16th for that year, was discovering this book. But then other strange things, incidental things have happened, and I couldn't sit down and make a list to remember them all. In fact, I do remember Bloomsdays closer than other days in my life, perhaps. I remember them closer than birthdays even. But I couldn't make a list of all the wonderful or interesting things that have happened to me. when I lived in China, that's the day that I got my 2 cats. And my cats kept me company, and I saw that as kind of a Bloomsday miracle. And I remember reading Ulysses back then when I was living in China to my friends and roommates, and celebrating that day as we celebrated many warm, fun days out in China. But, and then here, Jinkajabo, the channel itself, I thought I'm going to do anything on YouTube. If I'm going to put myself out there intellectually in any capacity, then I need to, I need to rely on silence, cunning, and exile. I need to rely on the ethic of James Joyce, because he was my creative icon in the sense that I could say and express myself in any way, and that my smarts would get me ahead, and that was it. And that's my philosophy behind my music, and behind my writing, and everything else, and certainly behind this channel. And the name of the channel, Jinkajabo, comes from this book. It comes from this day. It comes from the evening, the beginning of evening. It comes from dusk of June 16, Dublin, 1904. And we'll finish this part simply by reading this page. And again, happy Bloomsday to everyone. The summer evening had begun to fold the world in its mysterious embrace. Far away in the west, the sun was setting, and the last glow of all too fleeting day lingered lovingly on sea and strand, on the proud promontory of dear old Hout, guarding as ever the waters of the bay, on the weed-grown rocks along sandy Mount Shore, and, last but not least, on the quiet church whence there streamed forth at times upon the stillness the voice of prayer to her who is in her pure radiance, a beacon ever to the storm-tossed heart of man, Mary, star of the sea. The 3 girl friends were sitting on the rocks, enjoying the evening scene in the air which was fresh but not too chilly. Many a time and oft were they wont to come there to that favorite nook to have a cozy that beside the sparkling waves and discuss matters feminine, Sissy Caffrey and Edie Boardman with the baby in the pushcar, and Tommy and Jackie Caffrey, 2 little curly-headed boys dressed in sailor suits with caps to match, and the name HMS Bell's Isle printed on both. For Tommy and Jackie Caffrey were twins, scarce 4 years old, and very noisy, and spoiled twins sometimes, but for all that darling little fellows, with bright merry faces and endearing ways about them. They were dabbling in the sand with their spades and buckets, building castles as children do, or playing with their big colored ball, happy as the day was long. And Edie Boardman was rocking the chubby baby to and fro in the push-car, while that young gentleman fairly chuckled with delight. He was but 11 months and 9 days old, though still a tiny toddler, was just beginning to lisp his first babyish words. Sissy Caffrey bent over him to tease his fat little plucks and the dainty dimple in his chin. "Now, baby," Sissy Caffrey said out. "Say out big, big, I want a drink of water." And baby prattled after her, "A jink, a jabo." Sissy Caffrey cuddled the wee chap, for she was awfully fond of children, so patient with little sufferers, and Tommy Caffrey could never be got to take his castor oil unless it was Sissy Caffrey that held his nose and promised him the scatty heel of the loaf of brown bread with golden syrup on.